environmental problems were biodiversity loss, ecosystem collapse, and climate change. I thought that within 30 years of good science, we could address all those problems. But I was wrong. The top environmental problems are selfishness, greed, and apathy. And to deal with those, we need a spiritual and a cultural transformation, one way or the other. And we scientists just don't know how to do that. Joanna Macy on uncertainty. I am not going to read this, but this is a little bit of the text from a video that we'll be seeing in just a moment. I just want to say that that video, as short as it is, had such a tremendous impact on me. Leslie, yes, elders climate action. People can get involved in a whole host of ways. In my book, in my appendix, I give many organizations that people can get involved in, not just those that are focused on being an elder, but I put this up as an excellent example of a way to get involved, and it is a project of the larger organization, Elders Action Network. So conscious activism is a phrase I'm quite taken with. The Earthways Foundation has defined it briefly as engagement in the world that expresses and reveals our most profound understanding of the nature of reality. I like that. And there's an example of a book that talks about it. However, we have spiritual certainly sacred activism. I think I said spiritual. I meant sacred activism that Andrew Harvey writes so much about. There is mystical activism that I'll come to in a moment. So mysticism refers to the direct firsthand experience of the divine. No matter how it comes, and it's not a mistake. Activism in general may be broadly defined as efforts to promote social, political, environmental progress to remediate the suffering of humans and other life forms. So mystical activism could be termed as an awakened state in which we discover a world that is literally sacred and beyond the bounds of identity and beliefs. We enter the flow of sacred consciousness, caring for the divine world right where we are, locally, not necessarily globally, and generously sharing our gifts of true self and soul with others. The mystical activism of self-transformation is a here and now activism. We transform ourselves not to convince others to believe something or force institutions to change, but rather to alter our individual and collective experience of reality itself. John will be leading the series next month on his upcoming book, Mystical Activism. I probably should not read this given time constraints, but I'll leave it here just for, I will read it. In mystical activism, we each hold the power to change the world right where we are. These are the end times is not hyperbole. We are in trouble and the signs are everywhere. Extreme political divisions, xenophobic violence, enormous wealth inequity, poverty and homelessness, and all the rest. We are the cause of these dark times. Driven by left-brain beliefs, illusions, and obsessions, humanity races headlong toward the collapse of civilization. Fortunately, the solution to these the solution to these mounting crises also lies in the human psyche, arising from a most surprising source, the right brain's natural mystical consciousness. Our survival depends on whether we grasp and resolve this paradox in time. So these are some of the questions or contemplation for Via Transformativa. Can we shift our consciousness empowered by feeling and stand to enable a life-sustaining future? Do you feel responsible or called to do so? How can you respond according to your ability? What can you do or are you doing now to transform yourself and the world? And I heard a lot about that at the beginning with the introductions. And with a nod to the Grateful Dead, the wheel is turning and you can't slow down, you can't let go, and you can't hold on. You can't go back and you can't stand still. If the thunder don't get you, then the lightning will. So thank you, Hildegard of Bingen, for all that you did. and all of these quotes and her greening power. She says that the earth which sustains humanity must not be injured, it must not be destroyed. So thank you very much. Still around the corner there may wait a new road or a secret gate, and though I oft have passed them by, a day will come at last when I shall take the hidden paths that run west of the moon, east of the sun. And now I will stop sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, Art. Thank you.
Wow, that was very rich.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you. Yes.
So,
Be
good.
turning it over to Penny to guide us in a discussion of all this material and see how what's stirred in your souls. Penny, you're on mute.
But this Penny in Virginia Beach isn't. Art, will you share with us your email address? You made a reference to that.
I'll put that in the chat right now, please. And anybody who'd like a copy of this and a copy of my book, just email me.
I've now unmuted everybody I'm able to unmute. Joanna, Joe, David, and I think have to do it themselves.
Penny.
Yes,
Gotcha.
or other Penny.
Sorry, I'm trying to put my email in, but it's only going to Rolla. Anyway, I'll figure that out.
On the chat?
Yeah, in the chat. It's okay. I'll sort it out in the middle in a minute. And it also seems like everybody's frozen on my screen, so I think I'm having.
Well, just in time, or at least it waited so you.
Oh no! Oh, there you're back.
Oh, you can hear me now. Okay.
Yes.
Now, all of those questions, I can put all those questions into the chat too. I just don't understand why the entire screen is frozen in front of me.
Does anybody else have that problem? No, so I don't know. Mine disappeared for a little minute. I don't know why.
Well, all right.
Penny, you're up.
Okay. Well, I think it would be good just to invite folks who have a response or a query to offer it up now if there was something that caught you and you would like to share or ask Art about. And just, you know, just hold your hand up like this if you'd like to speak.
John is ready.
No,
Okay.
I was just excited by the whole thing, but I wanted to ask Art, what is it in recent times or in your aging process that shook your soul enough to drive this passion? And where is your passion going now?
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me, even though every
hear
single thing is frozen.
We can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me. Yeah, I worked for a long time as a consultant, and I sort of got to the point where I felt like I was a commodities broker, where it's sort of, you know, whether your clients win or lose, you still get your fee. And I sort of lost my passion, and I was also very, very upset with when I came back to the United States with the current political situation. And there wasn't really any one thing, but I was in a very down moment, angrily identifying problems and, you know, hurling insults at the TV. And I saw the clip that I hope we can show, if we have time, at least of Joanna Macy on uncertainty.
I'm ready when you are. Yep.
And although what she's saying, when you read it, may not be so profound, it's how she said it. And that had such an impact on me. And Leslie will know, I think the following weekend, or I don't think I was with Leslie at that time, but the following weekend I was in DC and participated in a protest against the children being separated from their parents at the border. So that had a big impact on me. And basically also as a privileged white man, a WASP, to make it even worse, facing ageism as discrimination for the very first time had a very big impact on me, and also enabled me to see a wider picture that others have been dealing with other isms their entire lives. And I just wish I could get my screen fixed, but anyway, here we are.
Do you want me to put that up now?
I think that would be wonderful, yeah.
Okay.
And
Just
if I-
finishing right now.
And I think what I might do actually while you put that clip up is I'm just going to disappear and reconnect.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Let me check this out, make sure I got this right. Zapparono, right? Oh, we got that. Zapparono.
Oh, did that
that's your
get it?
email.
Did that get into the chat?
I think I got it into the chat.
Yeah, Zaperno. It's ZAPERONNEAU @gmail.com. Not the easiest of emails.
No.
Let me go away and I'll reconnect. Thank you.
All right.
I just have a question for everybody here. I'm David Mogg. I live in Arlington, Virginia. I've been involved in work on climate change issues as a teacher in high school starting in 1990. I learned about global warming from Roger Revelle, who's sometimes known as the father of global warming. First, I'm full of hope because everything is changing. Even the Republicans are starting to talk about a carbon tax. Donald Trump in his State of the Union came out for planting 1 trillion trees. I mean, that's just a little crack. There's been so little attention to this problem for the longest time, even though the scientific community has known it for almost 50 years. So there's every reason to be hopeful. And someone talked about the solutions are out there. That's right, but they need to be energized. And my own commitment is, since I live here in Washington and work with Leslie and Elders Climate Action, my own commitment is to working on Capitol Hill to try to push for a carbon price on carbon, and ECA favors the fee and dividend approach. But your talk, Art, talks about ageism. I'm 77 years old and I have never experienced ageism. I wonder, am I blessed? Or is it just the community that I'm in? In fact, I felt the reverse. And that is, for $10, I can get into national parks for free since I was 62. When I go on the metro, it's half price. Young people see me and they get up and let me sit down if I want to sit down. Maybe ageism happens in other locations and maybe it happens in the workplace, but I haven't experienced it.
I think it affects people differently, and a lot of it has to do with how you've been living your life all along.
And maybe in your perception. All right, so here we go. Thank you. We're going to listen from Joanna Macy now.
Even though I talk about so convincingly, I know the great turning is happening. At the same time, I know that we're not sure how the story will end. I want so much to feel sure. I want to be able to tell people, don't worry, it's going to be okay. And you know what? I realize that would not be doing anybody a favor. First of all, we can't know. But secondly, if somehow we could be given a pill to be convinced, don't worry, it's going to turn out okay, would that elicit from us our greatest creativity and courage? No. It's that knife edge of uncertainty where we come alive to our truest power. So we do ourselves the favor. We honor ourselves to live with sufficient realism and dignity to know we're right with that knife edge of uncertainty. We don't know how it's going to be. There are no guarantees. And we realize, well, wait, if there aren't any guarantees anyway. There are no guarantees when you fall in love that you're going to have a lasting relationship. There are no guarantees when you go into labor that you're going to have a healthy delivery, healthy baby. There are no guarantees when you put seeds in the soil that there'll be sufficient rain and warmth for a bumper crop. There never has been guarantee for human life. And it's in that uncertainty, and it's like exquisite wind and fire of uncertainty, that is the nature of life. All the wise ones tell us that. That's where we come alive.
And if there's any time at all to show the video of from Terence Mckenna, that's very impactful, but I leave it up to you to decide.
I'm happy to play it. We might want to round this out and finish it and then offer it for those who want to stay and watch, just because of the time. I have to go get it now.
So did my email get in the chat while I was having my problems?
Yes, it did.
Okay, yeah, please, anybody, just send me an email and I'll send you a copy of the book. It doesn't come out in paperback until May 2020, but the complete text is there.
That's very generous.
Art, I just had mine bounce, so double check it's the right exact address for you. In the chat box.
There, is everyone seeing it?
Now it's changed, yeah.
Oh, it changed. Yeah,
Okay.
well, I typed it in when I was having my problems.
Oh, so I did it wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I apologize. Please, let's not bounce. That's the one. Oh, here's
Great.
another one that's really simple.
Okay. Well, we have 4 minutes remaining.
Like animal skin, sheep's wool, parabens, artificial colorants.
Sorry, skip an ad.
Dioxide, mineral oil.
And this kind of very
Okay.
simple.
Are there any last minute comments before we close with a reading? And then those that want to stay on and watch the Terence Mckenna video can. Any last minute reflection, question, comments?
Just immense gratitude from Penny Molas. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you very much.
Great. All right.
Thanks.
All right. I thought since Joanna Macy, wise elder that she is, 90 years young in spirit, her last book, or the book that she did as a autobiography, is titled Widening Circles. And what I'm finding in meeting with the work that reconnects group, and we really, you know, had the purest of intents. We didn't know each other when we started meeting, and every month astounds me with its depth and ability to bring more language to where we find ourselves in time. But this poem is one of her translations of Rilke, called Widening Circles. Listen, I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not complete this last one, but I give myself to it. I circle around God, around the primordial tower. I've been circling for thousands of years, and I still don't know. Am I a falcon, a storm, or a great song? Thank you all for joining us. And again, stay with us if you'd like to see the Terence Mckenna video. And next month, we have the great pleasure of listening to John and asking questions of John about his newest book, Mystical Activism. Thank you all for showing up, and we hope to see you again very soon. All right, Gail, you're gonna
Good work,
show
Art.
us this?
Yeah, thank you, Art, so much. Thank
That was really
you.
Great. Yeah.
It was really excellent. It's very solid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have to have a vision. I don't mean a plan. I don't mean an agenda.
Screen share.
Yeah.
We have to have a vision. I don't mean a plan. I don't mean an agenda. I mean a vision. The vision comes from above. It comes from, call it the unconscious, call it the Gaian mind, call it the Great Spirit. It doesn't come out of committee meetings and the data gathered by statistical analysis. We lack at the highest level, not you and not me, but at the controlling level, we lack a vision. The best leaders among us are no more than crisis managers, attempting to manage us past an apocalypse that they are coming to believe is inevitable. That isn't good enough. That's not what my daddy raised me for, and it's not what your daddy raised you for. We represent the cutting edge of novelty in the biological world. Our self-reflective consciousness is our great glory. It also opens for us a dimension of moral responsibility unknown to the rest of the denizens of nature. Part of our Promethean and godlike aspiration to the control of nature is the concomitant obligation to care for nature and to feel nature. So really my message here is a message of feeling. The ideas will come, the ratiocination will come, but what we have to do is feel our dilemma. If we could feel our dilemma and make other people feel our dilemma, we would move rapidly toward real solutions. We are anesthetized. We are a world dying under anesthesia for lack of authentic experience, authentic connection with the living world out of which we came. If we can do this by whatever techniques are available, if we can create a sense of community globally, then attending that sense of community will be a sense of caring and responsibility. It cannot happen unless we change our minds. We have the technologies, the money, the logistical ability to do almost anything in the human world, but we don't know how to change our minds. We are angels with a Siamese twin who is a monkey growing out of our chest. And this was all very fine when there were endless environments to despoil and vast herds of game. That curious amalgam of the animal and the angelic that is our humanness could exist in that kind of an environment, but no more. And for the past 1,000 years, the moral bankruptcy of Western civilization has become more and more apparent. The chickens are coming home to roost. We must build community, and we must do it in a short time. We've lost our compass. We don't know who we are. We don't know where we want to go. Our own lives are an experience of inadequacy and tension. We have lost our compass, but it's there.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
and just a word about Terence McKenna and his work. I don't know how it lands. A few years back, they were doing a project around using psychedelics to study it further. And then we had a conference here in Madison, near Madison, that was covering the cutting